Hello. The topic for this video is going to be Roadhog and how he's doing after the rework. No, it's been a pretty tough time for him. Ana is still in the game, but like, how is he doing? How is he doing now? Is his life in order? How's the new ability treating him? All of that. Is Roadhog road happy or is he road sad? Does Ana give him crippling depression? Maybe. But in terms of performance, how well is Roadhog doing? I think he's actually doing pretty good. He might actually be one of the strongest tanks in the game right now, if not the strongest. Since the rework, I've been playing a lot of comp with a friend who just wanted to play new Roadhog, so I just picked KarQ to help enable him, and we were able to get that Roadhog only account to top 500 with a 60+% win rate, which is pretty good for the amount of games that we did play. So going by that logic, yeah, Roadhog's pretty good right now. His primary fire is much more consistent, his healing is more consistent. He still does get kinda destroyed by Ana's anti-nade, but it's not nearly as bad as it was before, because Take a Breather is on a resource meter now. If you get slept, then you can just immediately use it again as soon as you wake up. So really, Ana only has one ability that completely destroys Roadhog instead of two of them. And again, that's why I picked KarQ when I duoed with him, because since you can take a breather immediately after being slept, I didn't really have to worry about cleansing sleep. I only really needed to cleanse nade, and that kind of covers up Roadhog's one major weakness that he has. And like, everyone in their grandma picks Ana, so it's not like we had a low chance of running into Ana players. But I think the real standout is his new ability. I know a lot of people thought that giving Roadhog a trap was weird, or maybe it was just one Reddit thread that has been living rent-free in my own head for all this time, but I feel like it makes complete sense for Roadhog to have a trap, not only because, you know, he's in a duo with Junkrat and Junkrat has a trap, so it makes sense that Roadhog would have one as well, but also kind of because Roadhog's character, he's not stupid. Maybe I'm just making this up, but I feel like a lot of people think that Roadhog is dumb, mainly because he is paired up with Junkrat as a kind of duo. And it's a very common character trope that you'll have, you know, the brains and the brawn. You'll have, you know, a big character that's stupid, and then you'll have, like, the smaller character that's his buddy, that's, like, the one that talks more and is, like, the brains of the operation. And that would be Junkrat. Junkrat just never shuts up. But in Roadhog's case, it's not really that he doesn't talk because he's dumb. He just doesn't talk because it seems like Roadhog just has, like, crippling social anxiety. He's just like me for real. One of the interactions that Roadhog has with Sojourn mentions the fact that she didn't take Roadhog for a tactician, and then Roadhog just says, yeah, I get that a lot.
Follow my lead, and we make it out of here in one piece.
Watch the high ground.
I didn't take you for a tactician.
You're used to it.
So in that case as well, it would make sense for Roadhog in character to be using a tactical trap to trap his enemies. Especially since Roadhog's trap is a lot more advanced than Junkrat's. Roadhog's trap sends out electrified wires from the center, and Junkrat's trap is literally just a bear trap. Both, you know, personal character as well as the lore and their relationship to other characters, it makes sense for Roadhog to also have a trap. And gameplay-wise, it 100% makes sense. Trap feels so at home on Roadhog because he has a hook to displace people. It just makes a lot of sense from a gameplay perspective that he should have a trap because he's actually able to manipulate people and put them into the trap, even if the enemy team doesn't walk into it on their own free will. It at least makes a lot more sense on Roadhog in comparison to Junkrat, who has a spam projectile and he kind of just throws trap down sometimes and maybe occasionally it catches someone off guard. But Roadhog, trap is really good. It might even be the best part of his rework that gives him the most strength, because Roadhog's playstyle now is all about holding space and not giving an inch of it. On defense, you mainly just want to hold hard corners, and Roadhog's very easily able to do that now, especially with Trap. Trap not only slows people, but also deals damage over time, meaning that Trap combined with his hook, Roadhog can easily shut down an entire choke point. Honestly, you're probably better off holding Trap to throw down on the ground in the middle of a fight instead of trying to set it up beforehand. I mean, it does go on cooldown as soon as you place it, so if there's enough time to set it up beforehand and still have it off cooldown, then you might as well, so that you can double up on the slow and the damage over time. But oftentimes you can just go for the reverse combo where you hook someone in, fire at them, then look and toss trap over behind them so that they hopefully back up into it, or, you know, hook someone in and then just throw trap directly at their feet. It takes about a second for the trap to arm itself so that it can be activated, but you can usually just toss it down on the ground in between your primary fires, so it's very unlikely that people will actually see it or be able to, you know, deal damage to it if you're also there firing into their face and holding space. You could also, you know, just stand on top of trap to body block it and protect it from damage because, you know, Roadhog has 700 health and a really good self-heal now. He's just very effective at bullying people into submission and just holding a choke. And again, another benefit of trap is that as soon as it activates, it deals 60 damage, meaning that if you hook a squishy target onto it, you can still insta-kill them with just hooking the trap. So the trap not only lets Roadhog lock down more space, but it also gives him back his insta-kill hook combo in a way that kind of feels more fair than if he just had it naturally. So it is just weirdly brilliant how much the trap has done for Roadhog, and his ability to kind of be a tank for his team while not sacrificing any of his character identity. It even gave him back the hook combo to kill people. And again, the usefulness of the trap doesn't even stop on defending. It's also pretty damn good when attacking as well, because currently the playstyle that I've seen work best for playing Roadhog is just to basically force the objective 24/7. Again, Hog's self-heal is much better. Even if you were to just use it all at once, it just heals much more than it did before. Previously, it would heal for 350 health with 50% damage reduction. Now on a full use, it heals for 500. It does only offer 40% damage reduction though, but that's still a lot more healing. And then you can also get, you know, a second burst of healing as soon as the resource meter fills up again. But getting back to playing attack on Hog, basically you just want to make use of the fact that he has very consistent damage now, as well as having hook and a self-heal that's really good to just be on the cart 24/7. Hog is kind of just a better version of Orisa right now in terms of playstyle. He has much more sustain because of the self-heal, and he's just a much more threatening character because he deals 200 damage per second, while also having hook, which not only can rip people down from high ground far away, but can then be confirmed into a kill with just his primary fire alone, two-tapping someone after hooking them in, or just straight up insta-kill them if you have a trap nearby. And trap also helps Roadhog here as well, because he can just toss it somewhere near the point, and it's just another form of pressure that he can use to keep people away from him while he just forces the objective. Because the main goal here is that even if Roadhog dies, if he's able to get, you know, 30 to 40 meters on the payload, I forgot to mention, but yeah, this strategy mainly applies only to maps that have an objective that can be moved over time. So the payload parts of Escort and Hybrid map, as well as the push game mode. But even on King of the Hill, Roadhog can still kind of, you know, force his way onto point and try and, you know, hold a corner of it while his team is losing a fight to try and get as much time on the objective as possible. But especially on payload maps, he is very good because he can just put trap near cart. That'll stop people from going near it. If they do, they get slowed, and they'll have to back away from the cart, and he just gets cart time for free. Even if his team gets completely rolled in the fight, if Hog gets like 30 to 40 meters every time, that's basically as much time on the cart as you'd get if you actually won a fight. The main problem with this strategy is that most of the time you will be reliant on your DPS heroes to be getting kills, because the only real threat to Hog while he is on a cart, especially if he's being pocketed, is if the entire enemy team turns around and looks at him, or he gets antied. But I mean, that's what the Kiriko's for. You usually just want to pick a Kiriko and just heal bot the Hog. Is if the entire enemy team just has like these mid-range hitscan heroes that just kind of stare at him 24/7 and blow him up. But if that happens, Hog can just hold his self-heal for 2.5 seconds to keep himself alive in a situation like that. And that just means that your DPS need to go and either kill the enemy team's DPS while they're distracted firing at the Roadhog, or at least, you know, get them engaged in a 1v1 and take their attention off of the Roadhog, because the Roadhog is usually able to live through the abuse of a single tank and just keep on forcing the objective as far as he possibly can. I mean, I've seen more than a couple games where Hog was basically just able to solo the objective without the attacking team ever winning a fight, just because he could just pop his trap right between where the enemy team is defending from and the objective. And if they do trigger the trap, then the slow will basically completely prevent them from catching up to the payload and getting on it in time. And I just think it's really cool that new Roadhog has just been like a massive success, both from a character standpoint as well as a gameplay standpoint. On the other hand, we have the Sombra changes, which I think have not been received nearly as well as the Roadhog ones were. Sure, while Virus makes sense because they're trying to make it, you know, hacker related, it really doesn't make sense for Sombra to be throwing out a damage over time. Even if they name it after computer hacker language, it still just doesn't make that much sense. And then from a gameplay perspective, it also just doesn't really work, because why does Sombra need a damage over time? Just one thing off the top of my head that I think would have been more interesting was for Virus to serve as a sort of light version of hack, where you could use it while invisible. The projectile wouldn't even be visible to the enemy team. They'd have no idea where you threw it from. They just know that a Sombra is nearby and going to engage soon. But inflicting someone with the light version of hack would just give Sombra the wall hacks and the damage boost on them. It would not lock out their abilities at all. I feel like if you want to do more with it, you could have it have some kind of unique interaction with hack, whereas if you infect someone first and then hack them, the ability lockout duration is slightly longer. But of course, I don't think that would be that much fun, so you could probably just make it, you know, something else unique. Like, I don't know, maybe have the hack spread to nearby enemies as well as the person that gets hacked. I'm just kind of thinking off the top of my head here. The other thing with the Sombra rework is that it didn't really do that much to her either. I think she's still around the same very low win rate that she was before right now, though I feel like the current meta is also kind of part of it. Dive heroes are just not doing very well right now against heroes like Soldier 76, who kind of just runs the meta right now from the DPS role. Meanwhile, the Hog rework just kind of did everything right. It made every part of his kit much more consistent. His damage is more consistent. He has a little bit more range. Before, Roadhog was at a very weird spot, where first of all, you had to pick between left click or right click, depending on range. And then secondly, there was kind of a weird, you know, midpoint to Roadhog's range where he just deals very low damage, since there is a point where the left click would not deal a lot of damage because you aren't close enough to someone, but they're just close enough so that if you right click them, the right click won't detonate and you just get, you know, the low damage from the projectile hitting them before it turns into the shotgun blast. But now with the new primary fire, he just has really consistent damage at close range, and then even some decent long range damage, more so than he had before, with the exception of, you know, the weird right click hitting someone as soon as it detonates, dealing like a ton of damage. And also with Take a Breather, it's now not just completely invalidated by any sort of stun. Still gets destroyed by Ononade though, but at least it doesn't get hard countered by Sleep Dart. And then of course just getting an entire new ability that really fits with this playstyle that he has developed, and also just serves as a way to give him back an old staple, being the insta-kill combo with Hook. It now just has an extra step, but it's still a true insta-kill combo since you can control where people go after you hook by turning. And then of course, because there is an extra step to setting it up, it doesn't feel nearly as unfair and unfun to play against. I just think it's a very successful rework for Roadhog. And with Roadhog and Mauga coming out, assuming that, you know, the turbo buffs to dive don't just force dive to be meta because Tracer's going to be insane, I do think that we could possibly see a meta where Roadhog and Mauga are both viable tanks, and we have this kind of hyper sustain the tank playstyle where you're going to be wanting to invest all of these resources into your tanks to keep them alive, while they just, you know, infinitely brawl each other into oblivion or something like that. I don't know. Could be exciting to see after the meta that we've had recently. But yeah, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to make something a bit different, and it should hopefully be the next video, but who knows if I'll have any problems with editing, since it's something I've not really tried before. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and until next time...